All right, so we're going to look at X and Y intercepts. Okay, and X and Y intercepts, if you look at this notes, it says the point where the line intersects the x-axis, so I'm going to label this. This is the x-intercept. And the point where it hits the y-axis is the y-intercept. Okay, and so what you can do with the x and y-intercept, if you can get those two dots, then you can actually find the equation of the line. So if I look at the x-intercept, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 0. And if you look at the x-intercept, it's always going to be where the y equals 0. Every point along this axis is going to be something, 0. And if I look at the other axis, my point up here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 0, 8. So this is where my x is going to be equal to 0. So if you're finding the x and the y-intercept, let's just take a look at this. If I find the x-intercept first, I'm going to take this equation and I am going to put in for my y, I'm going to put 0. So 0 equals 3x plus 6. So I would minus 6 and I get a negative 6 equals 3x. Divide by 3, and x equals a negative 2. So that means it hits the x-axis at a negative 2. And now I'm going to take, and I am going to put in 0, for the x to find the y-intercept. So I'm going to say y equals 3 times 0 plus 6. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, so this is y-intercept is 6. So you're always just putting in 0 for your x and 0 for your y, and you're finding your x and y-intercept. So let's take a look at example 1. Okay, so if I go to example 1 and I put 0 in for y, so I'm going to find the x-intercept and I'm going to put 0 in for y, and I'm going to minus the 5, and then I'm going to change my signs. My x-intercept is 5. And then I'm going to put 0 in to find the y-intercept. You take the original equation and you put 0 in for x. So my y-intercept is 5. It's very simple. You're just putting x and y, you're setting them both equal to 0. So let's go ahead and do number 4. So if I find my y-intercept, I put 0 in for x. So I would end up with a negative 2 equals, or negative y equals 2, so y would equal a negative 2. So that's my y-intercept. And if I put 0 in for y, I would have x minus 0 equals 2. So my x-intercept would be 2. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which one you do first. So if I look at the next one and I do my y-intercept, I'm going to put 0 in for x. So this whole term becomes 0. So I end up with a negative 2y equals 12. And I divide by a negative 2, divide by a negative 2, and y equals a negative 6. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to put 0 in for y to find my x-intercept. So this whole term becomes 0. And you get 3x equals 12, divide by 3, and x equals 4. So those are my two intercepts. So really quickly, I would like to show you, let's come down here and let's just look at number 8. Okay, so if I find my y-intercept, I'm going to put 0 in for x. So that would be 4 times 0, which is 0. So wouldn't I have 5y equals 20? Divide by 5, and y would equal 4. So this is my y-axis. So I'm going to count up to 4 on my y-axis. And now I'm going to find my x-intercept. So I'm going to put 0 in for y. So negative 4x plus 0 equals 20. Divide by a negative 4, divide by a negative 4, and x equals a negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Would be there, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to draw my line, and I used my x and my y-intercepts to draw it. think that's all we need to do. Yep.